What is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. Today we're going to be reviewing the JPT Tri-Series Carbon Fiber. Now, if you don't know already, I got this bang on, baby, with the requirements. Coupe, hatchback, performance tires, no prize car, let's freaking go. These are the requirements basically, and this is what I'm currently running with. So I do have a Hayabusa at 2-star. I'm really running low on ultra rares because I maxed out the W12, not the Synchro, W12 and the Sidewinder, so that was 30 ultras gone right there. I haven't done a lot of 1 million pack openings, so I haven't gotten a bunch of new ultras. So I don't really have a fantastic hand because I don't have the ultras to back it up. So I can't even see these epics as max. I got a 2-star Hayabusa. I got an Emerge with like 1 fuse in it. I have 1 GTR with 1 fuse in it, and I have, I guess, the max on Impreza, but that thing's hot garbage. I'm going to be using the 370 at least. But anyway, I'm going to be reviewing the carbon fiber that you need to open to get you the cars to win this beautiful Apollo Intensa Emozione. Seriously, one of the most beautiful cars ever manufactured, ever designed, ever produced. That thing is beautiful. You know, there's so many cars out there which people always say, oh, this is like the Batmobile, that is like the Batmobile. But most of the cars where people have said, oh, it looks like a Batmobile, in my opinion, I can't think. Guys, where was I? I was talking about the Apollo, and then the game decided to, you know what, I'm gonna yeet myself and crash. So yeah, I was talking about the Apollo, but I don't know at what point that the game crashed when I was talking about the Apollo. I guess I'll find it out in the edits, but like I said, a lot of cars look like the Batmobile. I can't think of any. I think like maybe the Zenvo, maybe, but the thing is, I don't think they look very good. But this one is sexy. But anyway, I'm gonna be reviewing the carbon fiber that you need to open to get you that. So let's get into that. All right, guys, here we are, tier maker. You know I love to use this. So first of all, I'm going to be reviewing this pack in a general sense, and then I'll be showing you a different image of how I reviewed the pack in a tri-series sense. So I'm going to start with a general sense. So general sense is basically if you want to open this pack, but maybe you don't plan on competing in the final, or at least competing for the prize car. Obviously, everyone's going to join the event, but maybe you don't plan, or you cannot win the prize car. Let's say you want to open the pack regardless. I have to say, this pack is actually not that bad because it takes away most of that Subaru saloon garbage, but it keeps a lot of that, you know, Nissans. It has a lot of good Nissans in here. The ultra rares are actually pretty decent. So let's get into it. Only 4 rankings because this is a very small pack. Only 20 cars ultra rare and above. So these are the 4 ranks: essential, decent, pretty sus, and of course, you know it, guys, hot garbage. So we begin with the Nissan 370Z Nismo, and I have to put it under essential. This is one of the best rear-wheel drive ultra Japanese cars in the game. It handles incredibly well. The top speed is decent, higher than, you know, your average 155. And you know what really brings it down, I would say, is the 0 to 60. 5.1 is not good, but it's definitely not horrendous. It's very RQ59-ish. In fact, maybe on the lower end, I expect RQ59 cars to be like maybe 4.9, 0 to 60, 4.8, something like that. So 5.1, it's still okay. 86 handling as well, so that's always very good. So the next one is the Nissan Pulsar. Now the Nissan Pulsar is kind of like the Japanese answer to the Lancia Delta Integrales. We're talking medium ground clearance, 4-wheel drive, and handles pretty well. I have to say that the Pulsar, it's actually pretty decent. No, I have to be honest, I haven't used it way too much, but it is 4-wheel drive, it is medium ground clearance, and it handles pretty well. Like I said, it's the Japanese version of a Lancia Delta Integrale, and I think a lot of us can agree that the Lancia Deltas, like the Evolution or even the Black Delta, are all pretty decent cars. So this one handles well. You max it out, it'll hit 90 handling. The 0 to 60 is okay for a 4-wheel drive medium performance car. I would put it in decent. Next up on the list is the Nissan 370Z Nismo. That's going to be decent. It's just a slightly worse version of the other 370Z Nismo. This is the 2009, this is the 2015. Now I know that you are getting less stats, but then it is also cheaper in RQ. But the thing is, 59 and 57 are so close to each other. If this was 55 and 59 and it had those stats, then I would put it in essential. But I think that the RQs are still too close to each other, 59 and 57. If this was 55 and maybe the 0 to 60 was like 5.3, then I would put it in essential because then you have a bargain. But you know, for 57, it's a very, you know, just a 57 car. It handles okay. 0 to 60 is okay. And the top speed is very average. But I have to say, the handling really boosts it up, and it's one of the best rear-wheel drive Japanese cars in the game. Moving on now is the Infiniti Q60S. Now, Infiniti Q60S, pretty interesting place to put this. I feel like I should put it under decent, although I would feel like it's like on the edge of decent and on the top of pretty sus. The thing that's special about the Q60 is it has a very unique niche. It's a JPT dragster, but that's it. It's only a JPT dragster because it has like 77 MRA and it has a low 0 to 60. When you think about it, it has the same 0 to 60 as the 370Z from 2015, and there's a 5 RQ difference there, which is actually pretty crazy. I know there is a 6 handling difference, but like I said, this is a drag car. I have this and I maxed it out 332, and like I said, it's a very unique situation because it's only going to be a drag car in a JPT sense. You put it in like a general outcome and it's going to lose to like the Tamora and the Charger 3 and basically anything that has a lower 0 to 60 than that, or maybe even the same 0 to 60 and better MRA. What I'm saying is that it's a very good car for the drags if it was JPT restricted, but if it was in a general sense, it wouldn't be very good. Now, I know I'm reviewing this pack in a general sense, but like I said, you know, JPT events can still be in a general sense because they can still occur outside of the final. So I'm doing 2 different tier lists. The one you will see later is literally just for the final. This one is for everything outside the final. So moving on now is the Nissan Silvia Nismo 5.584 for RQ54. Not that bad, not that shabby. I really want to put it in essential, but I think there's a little bit of bias just because I like this car a lot. I'm gonna put it in decent just to kick the bias out of there. But for 54 RQ, you're getting 84 handling, you're getting 5.50 to 60. It's really not that bad. The 0 to 60 is very RQ54-esque, but over average top speed. It's not like it has the MR to hit it anyway, and the handling is pretty good as well. I like the car. I would put it in decent. Next up on the list is the Nissan Micra. The Nissan Micra, I would put under essential. For RQ53, you're getting 4.90 to 60. That is incredibly low. Granted, it has no MRA. It is a twisty car, and it has the handling to back it up, and it is also very lightweight. So definitely for RQ53, I would put it in essential. It's no Lotus Elise 135, but you can say it's like the Japanese version of it. Like I said, JPT brought in a lot of game changers for the Japanese meta, and a lot of these game changers that JPT brought in is accessible from this very pack. So like I said, this pack isn't actually that bad. Moving on now is the Infiniti G37. Now 5181 for RQ52. I'm going to put this in pretty sus. It's still not that bad because it still handles pretty well, and the 0 to 60 is not even that bad. The problem is the Nissan Micra is going to beat it everywhere. Okay, I wouldn't really compare the G37 and the Q60 together because the Q60, at that point, that guy's just a drag car. As much as you want to argue with me, I see that as a drag car. This is more of a twisty car, so this is going to compete with other twisty cars, and it pales in comparison to the Micra, and is most likely going to lose on the Silvia on the very twisty tracks because of the 3 handling difference. Moving on now is the Infiniti Q60 3.0, and to be honest, for an RQ50, it's actually decent for a Japanese car. When you think about it, this is once again the Japanese equivalent of the Mustang 2.3, right? The Mustang 2.3 is like the American version of the Q60. It has decent handling, low 0 to 60, no MRA, but a very good bargain for just straight up RQ50. I have to say the Q60 for only RQ50 is a very good bargain to have those stats. And as you can see here, this is shaping up to be a pretty good pack if there are a lot of cars in the top half of the table. Moving on now, the Pulsar. The Pulsar is essential, in my opinion. Medium ground clearance, incredible handling, and that's really all you need for, you know, a city street car that can also double down as a twisty car. Once again, RQ50, huge bang for your buck. 0 to 60 isn't much of a matter here. Now, I have to say again, the Pulsar is a 323. I was wrong when I said that it was a 233 in my RQ series review. in my in-depth RQ series, this thing is actually surprisingly a 323 car. So there you go. If you get that 323, my own one is 233, but I do have a second one, and I will 323 that. It is a very good car, though. You can deploy it on city streets, you can deploy it on twisties, and it's a great bang for your buck because it's only RQ50. Now, moving on to the epics. The first one is going to be the Subaru Cosworth. That's going to be essential. That's one of the King Subarus out there. You know how I always talk about King Donk? That's King Subi, because it has a lower 0 to 60 out of all the other epic Subis, and it has, as you know, pretty decent handling. Not the best, but you know, it's up there, right? Obviously, what makes this thing weaker than some of the Subarus, or maybe I guess the weak point, is that it's low ground clearance. It's not medium, but it doesn't really matter because if you put any of the Subarus in a twisty setting or even a drag, that's going to win. So it is, in my opinion, the King Subaru for anything that doesn't require medium ground clearance. So I'm going to put it under essential. I mean, it has the same 0 to 60 as a Hellcat, which is pretty hard to believe. I mean, when you think about it, the Hellcat wide body, you know, the wide boy, is 3.785. That's 3.786 with four-wheel drive. What I'm trying to say is that thing is a lot better than the AMG A45. The Mercedes, which is also RQ77, yeah, makes no sense. That's 4085. This is 3786. Difference is night and day. Next one, Q60 Black S. Essential, okay? This is the Japanese. I know I'm saying that this is, I know when I'm reviewing these cars, I'm saying a lot of, this is the Japanese version of this is the Japanese version of that. One of the main reasons why I'm saying this is so for you as the viewer, you get to understand the car even more, but also it's just the fact. And what I'm going to say is that the Q60 Black S is the Japanese version. Black ass. It sounds like I'm saying black ass. Oh my god. Anyway, the Q60, it's the Japanese version of the Aston Martin CC100. Okay, same 0 to 60, high top speed, but not too high, not 200 high. Handling is the weak point, I would say. Only 95 handling when you max it out, but 100 MRA. And there are literally only about 3 Japanese cars in the entire game that can hit 100 MRA. So the Q60 is like the daddy dragster for Japanese meta. So for that, I'm gonna put it under essential, at least for epics and below. It will be the GTRs too, to be fair, but it won't be like the Zanavi or the GT1 race car or the GT1 road car. Moving on, Hayabusa. Once again, I'm sorry, but it is the Japanese banana. The Japanese banana or a Japanese Donkavort. That's what it is. Handles incredibly well. Super lightweight. Like literally, like I know people that can bench what that car is like weighing. I think it's like what, 500 kgs, or I know someone that can like maybe, I bet there are people out there that can either bench or squat or deadlift whatever that car weighs. Absolutely ridiculous. Fantastic car. Like I said, Japanese banana. Moving on now is the Subaru Impreza WRX. Now that's going to be decent. You know, it is the second best hot hatch Subaru, or the second best hatchback Subaru. Handles really well, 87, 475, handles better than the Cosworth. This one is medium, but of course the 0 to 60 is crap for RQ75. That being said though, it is still a pretty decent ride. Now moving on to the other 2 hatchbacks, these 2 are going to be pretty sus because obviously they're down the pecking order, and I don't think that there are any bargains. Like those stats don't really stand out for the RQ that they sit in. They kind of just, you know, it is very RQ70 and very RQ73 to get those stats, so nothing too amazing. I would say that 4886 and 4687, like this one might be pretty good for a 73, but I'm gonna put it under pretty sus. Next one, Emerge E. I'm sorry guys, I'm doing this again. It is the JPT, or the Japanese version of the Ford SVT Cobra. In fact, this one's actually better than the SVT Cobra. Like this one isn't better than the Banana. This one isn't better than the CC100, but the Emerge is like the SVT Cobra and is better. Lower 0 to 60 sim handling, and it is a pretty lightweight car if I remember correctly, so that's gonna be a really good car. Definitely essential. Moving on now, this is the Impreza. Now I have this one maxed out. Yeah, it's hot garbage. I'm sorry, it's the worst hatchback there. I have it max. It loses to the Evo 4. I mean, granted, these 2 lose to the Evo 4 as well, but yeah, it's just not very good. I just have nothing good to say about it. To be fair, it has won me a couple of things, and I've used it quite a bit. but the only reason why I've used it quite a bit is because it's like one of the only JPT Ultra epics that I have maxed, so that's why. Alright, moving on to legendaries now. GTR Track Edition, that's going to be essential. Egoist is going to be decent. The GTR R35 is going to be decent, and the R34 is going to be decent. The thing is, the GTRs, they're a dime a dozen. They're kind of like, you know, they're not very good. You know, they have low 0 to 60s, but they don't handle very well. Their RQ is a little inflated by, once again, the four-wheel drive drivetrain, and they have no MRA. So they're never going to hit the top speeds that they have because they don't have MRA. So the only strong things about the GTR is that maybe you have that quick burst of speed at the start because it has four-wheel drive. So it has a little bit of traction bonus off the line, and it has a low 0 to 60. But outside of that, it's not very good. It's not going to hit those top speeds. The handling isn't very good. You know, when you think about other legendaries that are RQ 89, 87, like, I don't know, Viper ACR is the first one that comes to mind. I can't really compare this to the Viper ACR because that's a rear-wheel drive car, but you get what I mean. The handling isn't good. The MRA isn't there. I would give that the essential to like the best of the best, but for these three legendaries, might be a bit cruel for me to say, but I think they're just decent. But anyway, you see what I mean? It's a good pack. It's a really good pack. I mean, there are like, what, 4 things that maybe I wouldn't be happy with, but everything else I'd be happy to get. Okay, to be fair, I wouldn't be happy with getting this one anymore because I already have it maxed. So maybe for my sake, I'll put it down here. But like, if you don't have any of these cars and you want to open this pack, it's pretty freaking good. Anyway, I feel like I've done enough talking, so let's get into the final tier maker thing. Alright guys, so here we go real quick because I spent a lot of time talking on just the general review. So let's talk about the Tri-Series review. So prize card winning, possible prize card winning, not good enough, and Dreamland. So basically the best hand that you want to have for the final is going to be these 5 cars. Because it's basically 1 drag, 1 hybrid, 1 drag, 2 hybrid, and 2 twisty. All dry, all low. So if you had to have a unique car and no duplicates, this would be the best one to run. You would want to use the Black S for the drags. You want to use these two, the Egoist and the Track Edition for the hybrids, and then you can use the Hayabusa for one of the twisties, and then just like the second, like one of the GTRs for the other twisty. Honestly, when you think about it, no, it's still going to be better than this because it has a lower 0 to 60 and they have the same handling, and the four-wheel drive is kind of irrelevant here. So I would say that this is the best hand. And then obviously possible prize card winning will be the R34, Emerge E, Subaru Impreza Cosworth, and the other hatchback. These ones are basically like, they can probably win you the prize cards, but you can't have just like 5 of all of these 4. You would probably need maybe a couple cars in here to really back up these cars. And then over here is not good enough. Now, once again, one of the things about a really small prize pool or a really small requirement pool is that bad cars can't get you anywhere. So these ones, unfortunately, not good enough. Maybe you can get by if you're like in a European bracket or something. Maybe you can get by maybe 1 of these cars, so maybe like 1 370Z or 1 Micra, but along with that 370Z and Micra, you might need to have maybe an Emerge, and then maybe like the Black S, and then 2 GTRs, something like that. So definitely only 1. If you have 2 of these cars in the same hand, then your odds of getting the IE is almost 0. And then talking about 0, it's going to be these. So these cars aren't going to get you anywhere. They're pretty cool cars. So you see what I mean? That I had 2 different tier maker lists for this, two different lists for this, because a lot of these cars are actually decent outside of the final, but when it comes to the final, they are actually dog water. So unfortunately, not good enough. These ones already, you know, I don't know, man, not good enough as well. This one's hot garbage. This is not good enough. This is possible prize card winning, and then this is definitely prize card winning. But anyway, guys, I wish you the best of luck in the final. Let me know how you do in the comments below. If you got a good bracket, a bad bracket, a good hand, a bad hand. But anyway, hope you guys have a great day. I hope you found this video helpful. I talked a lot in this one. I'm sorry, but like, this is actually a pretty decent pack, and I just really wanted to justify that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.